Hello and welcome to another Wednesday evening chat with Louise. This week I want to talk about letting someone go. You know the saying, if you love someone, set them free. If they come back, they're yours, and if they don't, they never were. Now this is along those lines because I had to drop my son off at the airport on Monday morning. He went to join the Foreign Legion. That's a biggie for me. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's not something that's just come out of the blue. It's actually, let me show you. This is him, age 4. It goes up each year. See the reflection? I can remember buying that hoodie, particular camouflage hoodie, in about 7 different sizes. He loved it that much. In fact, apart from his school uniform, he wouldn't wear anything but camouflage because he was going to go in the army. And from that age, that is all he's ever wanted to do. Now, sadly, because of something happened at school when he was 16, to do with the depression over the exams, the British Army has refused him. And for the last 2 years, he's been working really hard. He got a job. He's done a lot of holiday work. So in the summer, he's been working at the holiday camps, cooking in the kitchens, and in the winter, he was at Butlins. It's not a particularly nice job. Long hours, very difficult people to have to deal with. And obviously, he wasn't very happy, but he met this lovely girl last year. And he was so happy with her. They were absolutely brilliant together. And I think he thought he would park all this because it was time to settle down and make a life. But it kept coming back and it kept niggling away at him and niggling away at him. And every time he got a bit fed up with life, he's very disillusioned after doing a politics degree about this country. Who isn't? And this thing about joining the Legion kept coming up. Now, when I say it's not a knee-jerk reaction, he's actually been training online with ex-Legionnaires for the last 2 years. So he's fit and he's healthy and he knows what it takes to go in there. But as a mum, when you read all about it, and ex-Legionnaires will say it's a little bit like signing yourself up for prison for the first year. Your heart goes, oh my God. And then you read all the other things, the countries they go to, the conflicts they go to. And then on the other hand, you have to read the other bit where it says they only accept every 10 in 100. And the fact he has got an education, it does go against him because obviously critical thinkers aren't necessarily what you need in the service to begin with. If you get promoted, then it's very different. But for that first year, you've just got to be like a robot and do as you're told. And equally, having a loving family that you can go home to is not always a good thing either, because if the going gets tough, you can go, oh, well, I'm going home. They want commitment, and fair enough. But did I ever really think he'd go? No. But I've always been supportive of him. And going back to that, if you love them, let them go. I think one of the hardest things, I'm going to show you this picture, was him. This is the man he's become now. This is him stood at the airport, ready to go. And that was one of the hardest things I've had to do. But they say the most profound act of love is setting someone free. And there were so many people, even in my family, his great uncle, you should stay at home, you should settle down, you should take a boring job. And one thing I have brought him up always is, if you're not happy, do something about it. I think our favourite saying is, you are not a tree, you can move. And that was our last words when he left. He gave me a hug and he said, thanks for believing in me. And I said, and you remember? And he went, yes, I am not a tree. And that's just my way of saying to him, whatever happens, I support him. And I think that it's the most selfless act you can give somebody, because how many times in life have you done things you didn't want to, you felt obliged to, where were the people there? Where were your cheerleaders? Where were the ones saying, go, do what you need? And one of the things that so impressed me is his girlfriend, because obviously I'm talking from a mum's perspective, but from a romantic partnership, she absolutely adores him. And it was very hard for her because to begin with, she must have felt like she was being totally abandoned, and he was choosing that over her. And I get that. I would have been cross as well as upset. But her love for him was enough that she could then go, just go, see what happens. I wish you well. If you stay and it's what you've always wanted it to be, then you go with my blessing. And if it's not, I'm still here for you when you come home. And I think that was very, very selfless for a 22-year-old. Very impressive. I wish I could have been that mature at that age, because I'm sure I wouldn't have been. But isn't that a powerful message for us to learn about, one, from the perspective of supporting people, and also two, from loving somebody enough to say, follow your heart, follow your dreams. If that doesn't involve me, I still love you enough to support you. And I've thought about this looking back at other relationships and thinking, how many times do we cling on to things that we really know aren't working? How many times should we have let them go? And how many times have we let them go and then realised they weren't meant to be? And surprising that something you thought you couldn't live without, or somebody you couldn't live without, a year or two down the line is like, what was that all about? Obviously having a moment there. So I think it's a really good one to look at. So short and sweet this evening, but remember, if there's somebody out there that needs your support, they don't need you to tell them why they shouldn't do it or all the things that could go wrong, because I'm sure if they'll have thought about that themselves. But support them, be there for them, and just say, go. There's a whole world out there to explore. And then likewise, if it's a romantic partnership, and the thing is, if they could have stayed together and they could have plastered over that crack for a little while, then their first big row and it would have always come back up. So what a sensible girl to say to him, let him go. And I love her all the more for that. And then look at the relationships that aren't working and think to yourself, I know it's going to hurt and I know it's going to be hard, but they truly will come back to you if you let them go. But then there's also the other one that does around on Facebook that says, if you love them, let them go and buy a dog. And I actually think dogs are very loyal. There could be something in that. So here's another little picture of my little boy here in his camouflage t-shirt. And I just think he's living his dream. And I'm really, really proud of him for doing that. Anyway, I hope you're all well. Thanks for being here with me again. Bye.